This is Gregor McEwen with Jamie McEwen. Today, we're going to talk about how to capitalize on an entrepreneurial venture. We both have experience in the past of running a small enterprise, and they were very similar in nature. So we really want to unpack the question by reflecting on this experience and kind of understand what we've learned from it.
Yeah, Gregor, I just want you to actually talk to us about how you came about starting it because I kind of followed in your footsteps. So, what made you get into this in the first place, and how did you develop the business concept for us to be able to obviously make a good little bit side money while either being at uni for yourself? How did you do it?
It was ultimately just capitalizing on an opportunity at work. So I used to work in a three-store mobile phones selling contracts, and my manager at the time was like, "Can anybody cut grass on the shop floor with everybody there?" And then nobody really put their hand up, and I was like, "We've done it in the past." Our next door neighbor Jamie, as I'm cutting the grass, and I was like, "Yeah, I can cut grass. I can do a bit of gardening. I can do a bit of soft landscaping, basically." So basically, the following month, I was down at still in Edinburgh, cutting my manager at the time's grass and gardening, um, doing a bit of soft landscaping, moving stones and stuff, basically. And then as I was cutting the front garden, the woman across the road was like, "Oh, are you a gardener?" Obviously, they'd be dressed in some instances like a gardener. I had like a maybe tacky green parker on with kind of like big boots on. So I looked like part of the maybe a gardener-ish. But so I just basically said, "Yeah, I'm a gardener. What can I do?" And basically after that, I went and had a look at her garden. She had a big lawn at the back, and she was like, "Yeah, can you do me a rate for cutting this grass? Probably might need you throughout the summer." And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course." So it snowballed from there. Ended up buying a few bits of equipment. Didn't really have a business plan as such. It was more just like ad hoc. And obviously, I was working at the time. I was studying. It was through the summer as well. So yeah, it was pretty much a snowball from there. And then I put some ads out on Gumtree just to try and get another bit of business. Ended up speaking to my manager, doing his cousin's garden, family relatives, and just slowly built up like a small client base in Edinburgh. Made some flyers, and yeah, it's kind of like built up from there. So I had like a small client base in Edinburgh with probably maybe 10 people, and just rotated around there for the summer, which was good. But I had
Yeah.
you in doing a few jobs as well, Jamie, right? So
Yeah, I think one of the things we need to go back to in that is to give the audience an understanding of how little and weird way we did it was it started off doing it out of the back of a Ford Focus. It was literally chucking equipment into the back of a car and turning it to people's houses, just literally basic equipment, stuff, basic appearance equipment,
yeah,
lawnmower, all that sort of stuff, and just literally driving half hour into Edinburgh to take a lawnmower or ladders or anything like that just to do some cutting trees or cutting grass or doing edges and
well,
or even just moving some
I
supports.
remember,
And
I
then,
remember when this was starting to happen, calling home and being like, "Who's using the car at home?" Because it was obviously the Focus was shared by three brothers, and I was like, "Can I borrow it for the summer?" And they're like, "Oh, why?" And I was like, "Well, I'm doing some gardening work." And then it just kind of like, as you said, that car was full of sets of ladders, trees, rubble, literally everything. It really did need like it warranted like a pickup truck or a van. Some of the stuff that was in that car.
yeah,
So I ended up like a tip, but worked a treat and just
yeah,
did what we could with what we had. So on a very, it was on a budget basically. I obviously didn't have to buy the car, bought equipment, bought lawnmowers, sold lawnmowers, bought, numerous amounts of garden equipment, which I think we may still have. But yeah, it was a nice, humble experience of like what it is working in all weathers, cutting grass around Edinburgh. And then a few jobs we had Jamie through to try and complete,
yeah.
which was interesting. And even still, did we not? Was it last year we did a client in Edinburgh, just ad hoc?
Yeah, so
So yeah, it's still things there.
literally, definitely, I think one of the things as well, going back, I was trying to get you to move on to obviously the next thing you actually went and did, Gregor. So obviously you made the money, but to help with obviously growing the business, you decided to invest the money you'd made and buy yourself a van.
Yeah, so obviously
Gregor,
cutting grass and stuff and filling the Focus up, I realized quickly that having a van would help and I could do bigger jobs. So source something on Gumtree down by Portobello actually. found a transit. I think it was £1,000 at the time, or he's had it up for 1,200, pretty much ready for the skip, and had a crack in the windscreen. MOT was fine for me for the summer, and sourced it. Went down and saw him, got it for £1,000. So I got £200 off. I think it was fairly easy. You just want to get rid of it to do that, and then yeah, I had a transit for a while, which was another experience as well, because going from a Focus is fine. We can see, as windows all around, you see out of the vehicle basically, to driving a van around Edinburgh tight roads and parking it and getting in some like tight spots is in tight situations is quite fun. So that was a good experience. That was good fun. And then having taken it home and having it on the driveway and stuff, and the parents just being like, I don't want to see that thing. I want that off the driveway. So yeah, no, it was good. It was a good experience. And then obviously it snowballed to the fact that Jamie got involved with a few jobs, and I kind of packed it in. But Jamie, having the time on his hands as well, and being, liked the idea of it, actually started a client base in back home as well when you're living at home. And you kind of done the same route. You ended up buying a van, and you kind of got further on maybe than me with some certain things. So do you want to jump into a bit of how do you remember much about that transition period of you doing it and starting out?
So I remember you. So it was a period where you were getting ready to get rid of the van. You'd done your summer of sort of work. Callum then, our middle brother, or no, not middle, oldest
Yep.
brother, came in, sipped in, and did a period as well of actually taking on some clients because he'd finished. I'm sure he's either finished uni or finishing and was just looking to earn some extra cash before going away to Japan. I'm sure at that point. So then, or around about then, and at that point, I was Callum. They had the Facebook page, and this is where the admin started changing. So obviously, Gregor was the admin, the first of the page. Then it got moved to Callum, and then Callum's like, "Jamie, do you want it?" And then I took over the admin of this Facebook page, where basically we had set up a page to try and get clients use Facebook ads and like put ads out to try and get people interested in us, taking photos of before and after, which I used your
Do you
photos
know, I
for
got
of like stuff you'd done
yeah,
in
yeah,
Edinburgh.
totally. I got to agree that I was the one who was like taking photos before and after because I had the jobs I could do, and I still got them. And then I
Yeah,
always remember Callum or Jamie being like, "Oh, have you got those photos? You can send me, and I can post them up and get some business." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And then I think you were pretty much more active on the social media, and I think you got a few jobs through it, right? So
yeah.
how did you find the promotional side online to secure some jobs? Was that quite easy, or what was your learnings from it?
Learnings from it was had to put some money into to get actually people. So I remember spending like £5 at a time and put it on for like a week or something. And I'd like end up getting like I probably got at least probably 3 4 jobs from every time I did it, and some of them were like all over the place. I remember going to um like Bowness. I'm sure I went like all over the place to actually get some of these jobs. I remember someone phoned me from Glasgow being like, "Oh, can you come and like lift these trees and get rid of this for me and stuff like that." Obviously these ones I just kind of left, but at that point, I had enough sort of people in the area who were like wanting jobs. So even just like across the street were like, "Can you come to my mum's place?" Then I had just follow on from that. So just people going like, "Oh, hey, Jamie's quite good. He does this. He's done that." So, but at that point, I was still had the focus, and this is where I was like, "Okay, I need to get rid of the
Hmm.
focus." I was kind of thinking, actually, I'm coming to finishing up, sort of with college. I was thinking this is an opportunity to obviously maybe make a wee business from it and just do the gardening and go kind of
Of
all
course,
in on it. And from that, I ended up getting myself, similar to Gregor, a wee van. Instead of like a big transit, I got like a nice wee
kind of
small
combo thing. Yeah,
2 year old Bipper
that was nice.
combo thing. And it was just the perfect size, cheap enough for me to insure, and got quite a good business from that. Like increasing the space and stuff that I could do.
Did you find
And my regular,
Yeah, I mean, obviously building a client base. So if somebody were to do this, right? Would you advise them?
yeah,
Because I find it's hard work. It's probably the fittest I've ever been.
yeah.
Manual labor. Would you advise somebody to do a similar route that we've done? Like, if you want to start out, try and do it on a budget and then get the van, or do you go all out and get ads up and go down the Facebook route, the Gumtree route? What would be your opinion on that or your advice?
I think my advice, if you listen to this and you're thinking, actually, yeah, quite like the thought of a wee gardening business, I think 100% just do it as cheap as possible first. find the client base, make the money from the clients, do a good job. And if you're having to like lower your price, the other thing I think is like having a good price at the start to get a good people to be like, oh, he's actually a fair price, he does a good job, and just putting a little bit extra effort in. If it works out, maybe not financially the best at the start, in the long run, that'll benefit you because you start getting a good name for yourself. And then once you start increasing sort of the equipment, you've got a van, you've got insurance, you've got all that side of things, and increasing that side of things, people will then understand why you've maybe increased your prices because you've got more
Hmm.
overheads. So then they can justify actually, oh, okay, so he's increased his price because of something. It's not like you've just done it for the sake of it. Whereas I think if you go out and just spend, you could easily go spend 5 grand, get a half decent van, half decent equipment, then have to create a Facebook page and do all these ads and stuff to just get clients. I think there's no need for it where you can do it and then earn the money, such as we both did. We basically earned enough money to basically afford the van, then to afford the insurance. You know,
So we want to, I
we
guess,
both. I
we want to unravel really good points, like building it up. Starting on a budget, build out to what your means are, and obviously we weren't doing it as a full-time position or job. It was more just like,
Yeah,
in a way, a hobby. So the whole topic of this one is to capitalize on an entrepreneurial venture. Do you feel like,
yeah,
obviously having the opportunity to, because I feel like I capitalize on an opportunity to cut some grass and make some money that way, and then build up a client base that side, use the skills to market, and then speak to people word of mouth. Do you feel like you would have done it a different way?
I don't think I would have. I think the thing with me is that I do probably like little things like the van. Like it's a tough one, I think, actually, Greg, because I finished uni thinking I wanted to do that. I literally finished uni going, I want to be start my own business. But like, there's the aspect of there's other things in the life that we're wanting to go and do. But as an entrepreneurial venture, a way to start up and just get a feel for it, it's definitely interesting. But there's another aspect that we didn't take into consideration as an entrepreneur. You have to take into consideration taxes, you have to do VAT, all these other things that we didn't really do because of it. It was a sort of like a hobby for us.
Yeah, it was
So
very much a hobby, trying to build that a wee bit of extra income on the side. But we built it
yeah,
up in a way that became more of an official way of making money. So we had, like, means to build
yeah,
out clients, we had means to price, we had means to, get a van. But the legal side, the logistical side of actually saying it's official business, we weren't ready to take that next step, I don't think. And our
yeah,
circumstances were obviously different as well. You're, I think you were just about
yeah,
finishing uni. I was heading down to London for placement. So yeah, I would say as an opportunity, we definitely capitalized on it. Like, you didn't basically just put it to the side. You actually took action on the idea, and you actually made it a success, and you learned from it as well. There's a lot of learnings from it,
yeah,
and you know,
completely.
would you, would
I
yeah,
think
go ahead.
I was gonna ask you like, would you, if you were to go do it again, or would you do it again? Actually, is the first question. The second question is, if so, how would you go about it? Obviously, you've asked me that. I would like to learn a little bit like how you're because obviously I think we learned a lot from
Hmm.
it. I think for me, I like the freedom you had with the job, albeit if it was your full time job, you would be like it could be quite a stressful thing to try and like winter time maybe find the right clients, actually having business throughout all year
Yeah,
round. Obviously in the summer when you maybe actually want that bit of time off, summer's your peak working. So then it's actually when you're in the winter, you're going to be that's when you're going to be quiet.
yeah.
So like, what's your thought process of actually going back to if you're out? Would you go back to doing that, or if you think you've taken stuff from it to then actually go into a different venture?
Yeah, I think I've realized gardening is something that I wouldn't want to do going forward or do again professionally. It's a proper tough gig. You Am I passionate about it? I can cut grass, I can chop down a tree, I can move some soil. But if you tell me what plants you want to have in here to make your border look nice in the summer, what kind of that aspect, which you can make money off, like upselling basically, that doesn't interest me.
Yeah,
The money's in like hard landscaping. So you're actually demolishing stuff, diggers, the full beans, that's when it gets expensive. That's where the money is. Do I want to get into that? Not really. So I was in this like weird place of okay, I can cut grass and do the basics. Gardening care. I can care for your gardening. I'm not going to like change it. So that's where it fitted in. And I think that would made me go like, because I realized how hard, well, it's hard graph and it's, very seasonal. I don't know about you, but every time it rained, I kind of got, even though I didn't have a job on at the time, if it was raining, I was like, oh, I'm not going to make any money. I feel bad. You get stressed just by the
Yeah,
weather, watching it day to day. And to get away from that is being quite nice. And other parts of me goes like, there's other ways to make money, better ways to make money, and ways to make more money, or maybe just wasn't as passionate about it as what I would want to be to continue with it in a capacity that makes it a fully fledged business. Um, but people out there
yeah.
do it and make it
I
work.
like. Yeah, I think the thought of like doing it. If I was to do it again, I would do it to a point where like you're not actually out doing the work, and you have a fleet of maybe 3, 4 vans that work in like this, even just like the central belt, and you just got a recognized name for like a gardening business, and you just have people like people phone in and be like want a job, done, and you just send one of your guys to go out. Okay, you go out, go give a quote, and if they want it done there, and then just get on with
Yeah,
it.
I do think.
Have that. I think that's like
I think that's yeah,
that's where you need.
yeah. Kind of, you're on the managerial side, managing your fleet, and just because there's a demand there, but I also think as well some of the work that we were doing, caring for garden, it's quite a lot of people maybe don't have a lot of money or think like you think your time's worth X. And they're like, no, it's not worth that. But you'd be like, because it's just a thing on the side, you can like, oh, I'll take a bit off to get the job. If you're running an
Yeah,
enterprise of that size, it does become a bit hard to cost because I think people either go to Gumtree and find like people like us who are doing the job for really cheap, or there's people who go to like an official
yeah,
business and get like a proper professional who's done it through uni and pay that the official amount that you should be paying for a job like that. So you're kind of fighting against two different markets, and that way, so
yeah,
how do you how do you differentiate between a Joe Blog who thinks they can cut grass and do a great job between somebody who's doing it as a career? It becomes a bit muddy waters and difficult that way. So I think you're right. You build up a name for yourself, but for me, being a manager
yeah,
and getting people in to do a job, I I could tell them how to cut a grass and cut a tree down effectively. And, you have to go by all the health and safety laws and all these aspects you'd have to consider. But do I care much about doing that? Not really. It sounds like a nice idea.
okay,
It sounds like a good idea to be like, oh, I've got a fleet of people, well, I'll just send them out to jobs and stuff. But I'm like, at the end of the day, you care a lot for your staff. You'd be like, you send them out in the freezing cold rain or something like that. End of the day, it's a job, but maybe not a job for that I would want people to do. Because I was doing it and you were doing it and you realize how difficult it is.
yeah, definitely. Also, I think one of the things, like obviously you talked about there about pricing. So obviously being onto your venture, you're obviously trying to like think about like making the most money out of certain
Hmm.
jobs. I found it because we were like on a basically just roughly judging businesses who we didn't have like a set like, oh, say if it was meters squared or anything, we would be like this price or anything like that. Judging the jobs and giving a price, you definitely judged it off the sort of person who you're going
Yeah.
to. So like, not to sound bad, but like if you went to somewhere in Edinburgh and the person's got a bit more money, you're willing to actually say, okay, it's going to cost this much, and most of the time they'd be fine with it. But I went to I being where we live, compared to Edinburgh. Obviously, Edinburgh's it's a lot busier, it's more expensive place to
Yeah.
live. Everything, jobs like that would just be more
That's true.
expensive. Found that
You're pricing for the
I
market.
had some
Yeah.
clients who I did some pricing for the market, and I had some jobs I went to, and I was kind of like, it probably wasn't worth my while
Hmm.
doing it because I knew that like one of the jobs I drove 40 minutes to do it for about 40 minutes, and then drove all the way back, and I was like, I've spent probably 2 hours or an hour an hour there and an hour back to only get like like 40
Yeah.
quid for doing this small piece of grass, and I'm like, that value, it doesn't
So
work out
true. So
overall.
true. Do you also think, I just had a thought there, is, we want to talk about capitalizing on the entrepreneurial venture. I feel like we've covered a lot
Yeah.
about what we did, how we did it. But do you think you could have done anything different? I'm
Mm.
thinking like you could have started a YouTube channel on the side explaining what you were doing daily. And I feel like that would have got some traffic. You know, people are interested in these sort of things, and then that could have become another revenue stream.
Yeah,
So maybe it's
I think it's
cap.
that's definitely something that would be worth doing because I've watched videos of people
Yeah,
gardening. You know, you've seen these ones that, like in America, and they're doing like over like the grass is like overgrown by a mile, and they just literally found them cutting it,
and it's got
and you're
loads of
like,
views.
what am I
But
watching? Look of views,
it's good though.
and we if we had done the exact
I
same,
know.
it might have been a viable way to get an extra another another stream of income. But um, anyway, Gregor, I think that's been like sort of overall aspect of where we went and what we did with
Hmm.
it. As obviously the topic's all about the entrepreneurial venture, what entrepreneurial venture would you look to do in the future, or have you got anything that you're wanting lined up that you looking for? So obviously we've done the garden business; it was good. We made the money for that period of time, which I think helped us out financially, but also gave us a lot of work experience that a lot of people wouldn't do. There's not many people that our age at like 17, 18 year old, were quite lucky to basically even have a car to go off and do that sort of stuff.
So true.
If you're to do an if you're going to do a entrepreneurial adventure now, what would it be and why?
That's a very good question. Quite a tough question actually. I've got a lot of ideas going on. Um, you know, it's kind of I'd want to do something that's maybe less. What would I say? Maybe something that's a bit more. Your time is not tied to your income right away, so you could then leverage what you're doing. So perhaps maybe more digital, selling digital assets where you make it once, sell it twice, where you can leverage the work you've done already to make it exponentially more revenue generating for you, rather than being like I'm tying
Yeah,
X amount of time to X amount of work, which is good. You make good money off that, I'm sure. And obviously, it's kind of like freelance gigs and stuff like that. But yeah, if you can find a way to make something once and sell it twice, I think that's going to be a better way to make that extra money on the side. So yeah, thinking of ideas like that is probably good, and looking into those ways to do that basically. Do you have an opinion on that, or what's your idea of your next venture as such?
so I think for me, like exactly the same guy. I think online digital creating a product or something that can be you can sell over multiple times is definitely the way forward, and it's the way of the world now. It's like people are making something for it to be sold multiple times. Um, I think the thing I struggle with is there like what I want to do in sort of my own ventures is I like to talk to people. I'm quite social. I like being outside. Actually, like I actually think I enjoyed the aspect of being physically active all the time with it. Albeit it's sometimes backbreaking and like you're like end of the day you're going like my back's sore, you're knackered, or you can injure yourself. So for me, a hard one, but I definitely think digital, trying something, either doing like even like Shopify, creating a Shopify store again. Like me and Gregor have tried that before. We can go into that in another episode, and just like trying to do any way of creating another stream of income that you don't actually have to once it's set up. That's it. You can literally just check up on it every maybe well, and just have it ticking over to create another stream of
Yeah,
income
no, it's a
because
very good point. I like your
what
idea of maybe trying different things as well.
yeah, definitely. So, anyway, Greg, I think we've kind of gone over everything. Is there anything in particular that you think the audience should be aware of if they decide to go down this route of doing the gardening business or doing an entrepreneurial venture that they should be aware
What I
of?
would do is jump onto Instagram and follow some gardening accounts in the UK. Is what I've learned a lot from. You can get an idea of their lifestyle, how they do the business, because a lot of them share a lot of information that you would kind of like bite their arm off for. There was a few that I was following at the time, and I was like, oh my god, like so he does this with the business. He has this is the lawnmowers he's buying. This is how he manages his clients. This is how he gets payments, and they're sharing it all online for free. And I would jump on that, follow them, even reach out to them if you want, and just ask them, look, this is my plan. Do you have any tips? Because it's all very well for us talking about it, but if you get it from somebody doing it as a proper job and it's their profession.
Yeah.
Start there. What were you doing? Do you have any advice?
I think your advice there is great. I think also being, if you're looking to get into it and you've never really done it before, you've done your own gardening stuff, but or neighbors like us, you're young, you're looking to do the similar sort of thing. Just even reading up on like gardening stuff, so like what kind of grass there is, how do you maintain it, plants, learning that side of things, and you going to a client and actually saying to them with specific things that will actually be like, it's not just you're just not waffling, you're giving them solid advice on how to maintain the garden or help to make it look better, is definitely something that will help you grow the business and also become more reputable. People will actually be like, oh, this guy knows his
Love
stuff.
that.
But the other thing I would do is, one of the things I would do is also being smart with the way you're doing your business, like in terms of, you know, a good example for me is that I had a client who wanted new stones, and then I also had another client that needed stones. The stones that were already down were actually perfectly good stones, and the new client just was just what looking for something new, fresh, something different. So I leveraged that an aspect of, I got packed up all the stones from one place, got them bagged up, got the lorry that delivered the new stones to pick up the old ones, and the old ones got dropped off at the house that was needing the stones. So I managed to save myself not only the money, but managed to charge the clients for the service of getting new stones to them, and made double the amount of money that I would have made if I'd just done it separately.
Yeah,
And
super
that was a
clever.
whole kind of logistics, smart way to go about it. So I think if you're going to go into this business, you want to be able to be smart with anything. So if anyone's getting rid of anything, can another client use it? So if you have storage, it may be worth just storing it somewhere. If you've got a bit of land, like take it back to you, take it back. I had one other client who had a bench that they were getting rid of. The wood was worn out, okay, but the sides were the metal, old metal gate, metal sort of sides. All it needed done was fresh wood put down, fresh lick of paint, and that you'd have sold that piece of furniture for probably another £100. Benches were going really high in the pandemic. A lot of people were looking for that side of things. So it's all about being smart with it. Where can you create extra streams of income? And these are just different ways that I would advise if you're going to do this. Look at how other things can be used. It's all about sort of like recycle, reuse aspect, especially in that sort of sector, I
Love
think.
that, Jimmy. That is
So I definitely sort of advice I would
that's
give.
amazing. And when you're in and out in the field doing this sort of work, you definitely see opportunities like that all the time. A bench, firewood could be something as well. And yeah, what a great way to end the episode. I think we've got some good advice there. And if you have any questions as well regarding how me and Jimmy, ran the business, we do have stuff that we've saved, such as spreadsheets and stuff that we've used in the past to manage client jobs, how we price clients. Just let us know in the comments, and we're happy to reach out and have a discussion with you. And yeah, we're looking forward to the next episode, and we're glad that you're sticking around.
Yeah, perfect. Well, next episode's going to be an interesting one. There's going to be a special guest on next week, so stick around. Hopefully, you enjoy that one, and we'll see you next week.
Great. See you next.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.